The stars were quiet that year. No battles, no threats, no warnings. For the first time in decades, the skies above Earth were calm to calm. The galaxy had been full of war. One by one, alien civilizations were being conquered by a powerful empire known as the Thari Dominion. They did not destroy. They absorbed. Planets surrendered before a single shot was fired. The Thari came with silent ships and sharp eyes. They always won, until they reached Earth. And then they simply left. No invasion, no communication. No reason. They approached the solar system and then, without firing a single weapon, they turned around and disappeared. Some called it a miracle, so others called it a trap. But Sergeant Leon Vance didn't believe in miracles. Leon Vance was a soldier, not a famous one, not a hero. Just a man who fixed things, doors, engines, armor, radios, especially when things were breaking during war. He served on Luna Base, the main military outpost on the moon. He'd been up there for 8 years, long enough to know something was very wrong. He stood at the edge of the observation deck looking down at Earth, a glowing blue marble floating in the dark. His hands were dirty with grease. His boots were old, and in his chest, his heart was heavy. "Still no word?" he asked. Beside him, Captain Ramirez shook her head. "Nothing. Not from the Thari. Not from command. They're pretending like everything's fine, like they didn't just skip Earth like we're cursed." "Maybe we are," Vance muttered. Ramirez looked at him, eyes sharp. "You think it's bad they didn't attack?" "I think it's weird," he said. "And weird gets people killed." That night, Vance sat alone in his bunk, watching an old recording on his datapad. It was grainy and shaky. A little girl, maybe 7 or 8, was sitting on his shoulders laughing. Her name was Eva, his daughter. His smile faded. She had disappeared 3 years ago during the Kepler evacuation when a colony was attacked by pirates while waiting for rescue. Thousands died. Hundreds went missing. The military said the escape pods were destroyed, but Vance never believed that. Not truly. She had been smart, brave. He told her to hide. She listened. Maybe she was still out there. 3 days later, Luna Base caught a signal. Not a threat. Not alien code. A song. The sound came through every channel. Soft and slow, like someone humming. Old, familiar. Strange. It was a lullaby. A human lullaby. Vance sat straight up when he heard it. It was the one he used to sing to Eva, a song his own mother had sung to him, and then a voice spoke. "Hello?" The voice was small, female, curious. "My name is Sweet Girl. Are you still there?" Everyone on the bridge froze. Vance's mouth went dry. No one used that name. Except him. The message played on repeat once every hour, from deep space, just outside the solar system. At the very edge of where the Thari ships had last been seen, it was a trap. The general said, a game, the scientists thought. But Vance heard something different. He heard hope. He wasn't supposed to leave base. He wasn't even supposed to be in the Cum's room, but late at night. He broke protocol and replayed the signal over and over. He slowed it down. He filtered out the static. The voice was human. That much was clear. But there was something else. A strange echo beneath the words. Tone that didn't belong to human technology. Something alien. Like a second layer of communication hidden in the lullaby. Cryptid. Protected. He didn't understand it, but someone did. Dr. Arjun Malik, an AI linguist and data analyst on the base, noticed it too. "This isn't just a voice message, Arjun," whispered, leaning over his screen. "It's a bridge. Someone is using the lullaby to build trust. Not with us, with the Thari." "Why would the Thari care about a lullaby?" Vance asked. Arjun looked at him carefully, because someone made them listen to it. Over and over. Someone they couldn't ignore. The next day, Vance sent an encrypted request to Earth's command. He asked for a recon mission. Small crew. Quiet. Entry. Just to check the signal source. They denied it instantly. Too risky, they said. Unconfirmed source. Could be a Thuri trap. They closed the request and flagged his file, but he wasn't going to stop. He had heard her that evening. Vance returned to the observation deck. The Earth still spun, bright and peaceful. Too peaceful. Behind him, Arjun approached with a small data chip. "You're not crazy," the scientist said quietly. "I isolated the background signal. It contains theory patterns, but they're changed, calmer, rewritten." "What does it say?" Arjun paused, then answered, "It says don't come back. You're not ready." Vance's stomach turned. "Who sent it?" he asked. Arjun met his eyes. "Your daughter, maybe. Or something that thinks it is her." Back. In his quarters, Vance stared at the old video of Eva again. He remembered how she'd laugh when he said, "Sweet girl," she used to answer. "Hey, Daddy." He hadn't heard that voice in years. But now she was calling through space, through alien tech, through silence and the aliens. The mighty Thari. They were listening to her. They had stepped away from Earth, not out of fear, but out of respect. Or something else Vance didn't know. But he was going to find out, even if it meant breaking every rule. As the lights of Luna Base dimmed and the stars rose behind the moon's shadow, Sergeant Leon Vance made a decision. Tomorrow he would steal. A ship tomorrow. He would follow the signal. Because he wasn't just a soldier. He was a father. And someone out there, maybe his daughter, maybe something else, was still waiting for someone to say, "Hey, sweet girl." Sergeant Leon Vance was not a pilot. He was a soldier, a builder, a fixer. He knew machines, not stars. But that didn't stop him from stealing a ship. He picked a small one, fast, quiet. It had weak weapons. But a good stealth drive it was. Meant for deep space scouting, not war. That was perfect for him. Inside the cargo bay, Dr. Arjun Malik waited nervously with his data bag and 2 hard drives full of signal recordings. "You really think it's her?" Arjun asked as the engines warmed up. "I don't know," Vance said, flipping switches. "But I'm going to find out." As the ship launched from Luna Base, no alarms rang. Vance had planned it well. He had a 2-hour window before Earth Command noticed the missing craft. That was enough to disappear into the dark. They called the ship Gray Fox. It was small and cold, with old leather seats and blinking green lights. But it was fast. Outside the window, Earth shrank behind them. The moon passed out of view. Ahead was the void. Black space dotted with stars. And somewhere far ahead, the source of the signal. They flew for 6 days in silence. Vance barely slept. He listened to the signal again and again, the soft lullaby, the girl's voice calling. Out. "Hello? My name is Sweet Girl. Are you still there?" The same words every hour. But each time he heard something new sometimes. A pause between words. Sometimes a whisper under the lullaby. Sometimes his own name. Not clearly, not loud, but there. ... Vance ... He didn't tell Arjun, not yet. He didn't want to scare him. On the 7th day, the stars changed. They reached the edge of the solar system, past Neptune, past Pluto, into the Oort. Cloud, dust, and ice floated around them like ghosts. There were no ships, no stations, just space. And then the ship's sensors beeped. Arjun leaned forward. "There's something out there," he said, pointing at a blinking red dot. A structure large, hidden in the dark. Not moving, Vance adjusted the ship's course as they came. Closer, lights flickered ahead, soft white blue, like tiny candles in the void, and then they saw it. A Theri satellite. But not just any satellite. This one was built like a shrine. It looked almost beautiful. It was made of smooth silver plates and glowing blue rings. It floated without wires, held together by fields of soft light. On its surface were symbols, not Thari letters, but drawings. One of them showed a small child standing with her arms open. Another showed Earth, and the last one showed a human hand holding an alien one. Arjun was stunned. "They made this," he whispered. "For her?" Vance didn't speak. He moved the ship close and opened a comlink. The signal came in stronger than ever. "Hello, Sweet Girl here. Are you still there?" But this time, the voice added something new. "Daddy." Vance's heart stopped. It was her. Arjun ran the signal through filters and code readers. He looked confused. "There's more," he said. "She's sending us a message under the voice. I think it's a map." "A map to what?" "To her," Arjun said. "She wants us to follow." They followed the signal trail it took them. Beyond the Orc cloud, into deep space, far from Earth, far from any star. Vance had to power down everything except the engines and nav system. They were flying blind. Then, after 20 hours, they saw it, a station, massive, quiet, floating in a pocket of nothing. It looked part organic, part machine, like coral growing into metal, pulsed with soft light, like a heartbeat. The Thari were here, but they didn't attack. In fact, they opened a door. The gray fox was pulled into the station slowly, as if the structure breathed them in. Docking clamps closed gently around the ship, but no soldiers came, no weapons pointed at them, just silence. Vance stood at the airlock with his helmet in hand, staring at the glowing hallway ahead. Arjun looked at him nervously. "You sure about this?" "No," Vance said, "but I'm going." He stepped into the light. The inside of the station was warm and strange. The walls moved slightly like muscle. The floor felt soft but strong. Lights floated in the air like fireflies. Symbols and shapes hovered without support. They walked for 10 minutes. No guards, no resistance, just one long hallway, leading to a large door, covered in images of Earth, the moon, and a little girl's smile. The door opened by itself, and inside, she stood waiting. She looked about 14 now, taller, thinner. Her hair floated around her like it was underwater. Her skin was pale, but her eyes were glowing gold. She wasn't fully human anymore, but she smiled when she saw him and when she spoke. Her voice shook the room. "Hey, Daddy." Vance stepped forward slowly. "Eva," she nodded. "I'm still me, just more." He didn't care. Her pulled her into his arms. She felt real, warm, alive. "I thought I lost you," he whispered. "I thought I lost me," she said. Arjun watched from behind, stunned. The walls of the room were covered in light. The Thari had been recording everything she said, everything she remembered. Songs, stories, dreams. They had studied her like a teacher, not a prisoner. "I didn't mean to change them," Eva said, looking around. "Understand kindness." They didn't know what it meant to love someone for no reason. She looked at her father. "But I remembered you." She explained how she survived the Kepler evacuation. Her escape pod had been picked up by a Thuri scout ship. She was scared, alone, and kept singing to herself. They tried to study her, but her songs, her emotions, her memories changed them. They stopped being conquerors. They became listeners, students, and they started calling her Sweet Girl, her father's name for her. They built this station to keep her safe, to understand her, and when they saw Earth again, they were afraid to go near it, not because of war, but because of what they had done before they met her. They withdrew. "Silently, you made them stop," Vance whispered. Diva nodded, but they were going to leave forever. "They thought Earth didn't want them to return. So I called out. I sent the lullaby. I hoped you'd hear me." Vance smiled. "I did." Behind them, the lights changed. A new voice spoke. Not words, images, emotion. It was the Thari. Through Eva, they showed sorrow, regret, hope, and a question. "Can we come home?" Vance looked at his daughter. He looked at Arjun, and then he nodded. Double quotes, yes, but not as rulers. Boss smiled. "As family?" The lights inside the alien station dimmed as Eva placed her hand gently on her father's chest. "You found me," she said softly. Vance still couldn't believe it. She looked so different now, but she was his little girl, no matter how much she changed. He saw the same light in her eyes, the same smile from the old video on his datapad. "I never stopped looking," he said. They stood in the center of a living room made of light and memory. The walls showed glowing pictures from Earth, parks, oceans, and children playing in the sun. Arjun walked slowly around the space, speechless. Every picture was drawn from Ava's memories. Every wall was shaped by her dreams. "I don't understand," Arjun finally said. "You changed them." "So Theri, how?" Eva looked at him. "I didn't mean to. I was scared, alone, and I just remembered home. I sang the lullaby. I told them stories. I cried sometimes, and they didn't know what that meant. Didn't even understand what tears were." She touched her face and smiled, so they watched. They listened. They asked questions. "I told them about love and birthdays and chocolate. Cake about you, Daddy." And they started to feel something strange inside them, something they didn't have before. Vance listened closely. He knew war. He'd seen alien races destroyed by the Thari. No mercy. No talks. And yet, they spared Earth. They had stepped back because of a child. A human child. Arjun spoke slowly. They studied you, not as a weapon, but as a teacher." Eva nodded. "Yes, they called me a variable, something they didn't calculate. They never expected someone like me." Vance laughed quietly. "Nobody ever expects a kid to change the galaxy." Eva looked serious now, but they were afraid. They didn't know what to do with me. They wanted to return me, but they thought humans would see them as monsters. They were ashamed. "So why did they send the signal now?" Vance asked. Eva looked at the glowing ceiling where stars shifted in slow motion. "They didn't?" "I did." Silence followed. Arjun blinked. "You sent the signal? Without their permission?" "I had to," she said. "I missed you. I didn't want to be their secret anymore." She looked at her father again. "I wanted to go home." Vance nodded. "Then let's go. We'll bring you back." But Eva didn't smile this time. She looked down. "I can't." Vance's heart sank. "Why?" Ava's hands glowed slightly as she raised them. "Because... I'm not just human anymore. They didn't change me on purpose, but their world. Their tech, it grew inside me. I don't need food or air the way I used to. I can hear signals like voices. I can feel the emotions of ships. I can move light with my hands. To prove it, she waved her fingers, and a small globe of light floated into the air and danced between them like a firefly. They say I'm a bridge now," she added. "Between Earth and Thari?" Arjun stepped forward, whispering like he was speaking to something holy. "You're an interface." Eva nodded. "A living one." Vance took a deep breath. It was too much. His daughter had survived. She wasn't a child anymore. She was something new, but he didn't care. "You're still my little girl," said Ava's face broke into a smile again. "Always." Deep hum filled the room. The walls shifted. The Thari were watching. They sent a message through Eva again. Images appeared around them. First, Earth. Then, Thari homeworlds. Then, a line drawn between. Then the meaning was clear. They wanted to make contact. Peaceful contact. Eva turned to her father. "They want to return, share knowledge, grow together, and Earth," Vance asked. "They're scared. The Thari know that. That's why they want me to be the bridge." Arjun looked worried. "They won't believe it," he said. "Earth Command won't just accept that the Theri changed because of a girl." "She's not just a girl," Vance said. "But they don't know that," Arjun replied. "To them, this could be a trick. They'll send warships. Or worse, try to take her." Eva looked nervous now. "That's why I waited. That's why I only sent the song." Vance clenched his fists. "We need a way to show them the truth." Suddenly the light shifted again. A platform rose in the center of the room. A soft voice, not Ava's, echoed in the air. It was Thari speech, slow and echoing like wind through glass. Eva translated. "They say they will let us take a gift back to Earth, a crystal, with memories inside, human and Thari, emotions, visions, feelings, something humans can see and feel, not just hear." Arjun nodded quickly. "A memory crystal, like an emotional file." Eva touched the platform, and a small glowing sphere rose up from it, soft purple and gold, pulsing like a heartbeat. This is my life, she said. My story, our story. Vance stared at it, a truth that could end a war, or start one. Return to the Gray Fox with the crystal sealed in a containment field. No guards followed, no warnings, just silence. As the ship undocked from the Thari station, Eva looked back through the window. Will they accept me? Yes. Vance took her hand. They'll have to. The return trip began. For days through deep space, for days of planning Earth Command would likely intercept them as soon as they entered the system. They needed to explain carefully, no sudden moves. Arjun created a detailed report. Eva recorded a new message in her own voice. My name is Eva Vance. I was lost, but now I'm found. I lived with the Thari. I changed them, and they changed me. I want peace. I want to come home. Simple. Honest, but just before they reached the solar system, alarms beeped. Vance jumped from his seat. What is it? Arjun stared at the screen. A fleet. Earth command ships. 5 destroyers. 1 carrier. Yes, step forward. Let me speak to them. Vance opened the comms. A deep voice came through. Unidentified vessel. You have entered secure space. Prepare to be boarded. Vance answered. This is Sergeant Leon Vance. I have a civilian on board, Eva Vance. She is not a threat. We request peaceful communication. Silence. Then, Eva. Vance is declared missing in action. Your ship is classified rogue. Surrender now. Eva leaned close to the mic. I am Eva. I am alive. And I am not your enemy. She uploaded the memory crystal's data to the command ship, and then they waited for 10 long minutes. No reply. Then, the enemy fleet powered down weapons. A new voice came through. Softer. Eva. Welcome home. The carrier ship, X-Dominion, slowly opened its docking bay. Inside the Gray Fox, everything was silent. Eva stood between her father and Dr. Arjun Malik, watching the blinking lights on the control panel. They had returned to Earth space, but it didn't feel like home yet. Are you ready? Vance asked, placing a gentle hand on Eva's shoulder. I don't know, she whispered. What if they don't believe me? Vance kneeled down and looked into her glowing golden eyes. You changed an alien empire with a lullaby. I think. You can handle a few generals. Eva gave a small, nervous smile. Arjun looked up from his datapad. The memory crystal helped. They paused all weapons. That's a good sign. But make no mistake, they're scared. You're the most powerful unknown Earth has ever seen. Vance frowned. She's still a child. She's more now, Arjun said. That makes her dangerous to them, the airlock hissed. Heavy. Footsteps echoed from outside. The doors opened with a sharp sound. 5 soldiers in black exosuits stepped in. Behind them, a tall woman in a silver uniform entered, her face calm, but eyes sharp. Admiral Helena Cross, leader of Earth Command's first contact. Division, her gaze landed on Eva first. You're the girl? Eva stepped forward. My name is Eva Vance. Yes, you're supposed to be dead. Eva nodded. I was lost, not dead. Admiral Cross turned to Vance. You violated 10 codes, stole a military ship, and disappeared into enemy space. That would normally mean a court-martial. Vance didn't flinch. Found my daughter. She looked at Eva again. And what is she now? Eva raised her glowing hand, then lowered it quickly. I'm still human. Just more than before. Cross. Stayed silent for a long time? Then she said, We're taking you to Luna Base. Under protection. For questioning. Eva looked at her father, uncertain. Vance nodded. We'll go together. The trip to Luna Base was quiet. Eva sat in a special chamber, surrounded by soft lights and surveillance drones. Arjun stayed close, helping her answer questions from Earth scientists. She showed them memories, let them feel. The emotion inside the crystal, they saw her pain, her loneliness, her lullaby, and her love for. Some cried. Others stayed cold, but no one could deny the truth. She had changed the Thari Admiral Cross, called a private meeting in the base's high tower. Only 3 people were invited. Eva, Vance, and Arjun. The admiral stood by the window, looking down at Earth in the distance, a glowing blue ball, peaceful and small. "There are people who want to lock you away," she said to Eva. "Study you, break you down. Understand what makes you different." Eva stayed quiet. Cross turned to face her. "But I don't believe in fear. I believe in proof, and you brought that." She walked to the center of the room and placed a tablet on the table. "This morning, the Thari sent a message to Earth. Through your signal, they want a meeting. A real one. Face to face." Vance leaned forward. "Where?" "Orbit around Saturn. A neutral zone. They're sending one ambassador. And they requested Eva be present." Arjun looked uneasy. "It could be a trap." "It could be peace," Cross replied. She turned to Eva. "You have a choice. We won't force you. But if you're willing, you might help end a war before it begins." Eva didn't answer right away. She walked to the window, looked at Earth. "Beautiful," she said softly. "But I don't feel like I belong there anymore. Not completely." Vance walked to her side. "You belong wherever you choose to belong." Eva turned to him. "Then I choose both." 3 days later, Earth Command sent its most advanced diplomatic cruiser, the Concordia, to Saturn's orbit. On board were Eva, Vance, Arjun, Admiral Cross, and a team of diplomats and scientists. As they neared Saturn, the Thari ship appeared. It didn't look like a ship at all. It was shaped like a tree, long, curved branches of glowing crystal. With a glowing orb at the center, it didn't approach aggressively. It waited, patient. The Concordia stopped 100 kilometers away. A small bridge platform extended between the two ships made of light and magnet fields. No weapons, no traps, just a path. Eva stood at the edge of it, wearing a simple gray suit. Her long hair floated in the low gravity. Vance was by her side. "You sure?" he asked. She nodded. She stepped onto the bridge. The light didn't burn her. It welcomed her, at the center of the path. She stopped. A shape formed in front of her, tall and silver, with eyes like mirrors and fingers like feathers. A Thari, but this one looked different, more human-like in shape, less alien. The ambassador. It bowed. Eva bowed back. No words were spoken aloud, but inside her mind, she heard them. "We come not to conquer, but to understand." "Through you, we learned," Eva answered with her thoughts. "Earth fears you. They remember war. We remember kindness," the Thari replied. "The girl who wept, the girl who sang, the girl who showed us what it means to feel." Eva sent a memory of her father calling her sweet girl. The Thari pulsed with light. "Then let us show them what peace feels like." They walked together back toward the ship. The human diplomats gasped when they saw the Thari ambassador next to Eva, not as an enemy, but as a guest. Admiral Cross stepped forward. The Thari offered its hand. Hesitation, then Cross reached out. They touched, a silent handshake. History was made. Back on Earth, news spread like fire. Thari make peace offering. Human girl at the center of galactic shift. People didn't know how to react. Some cheered, others feared, but no one could deny the truth. War had ended before it began, because of one child. One. Voiced out one lullaby. In the weeks that followed, Earth and Thari began true communication. Exchange stations were planned. Joint research programs. EVA became the first. Ambassador of two worlds, a human born of Earth. Raised by aliens, understood by both, but she didn't want power. She wanted peace, and she wanted her family. One evening, on Luna Bays, she sat on the roof with her father. They looked at the stars. "So what now?" Vance asked. Eva leaned on his shoulder. "Now we build something new." 1 year had passed since the meeting near Saturn. The Earth no longer feared the Thari. They were no longer the shadow in the sky. The silent threat hiding in the dark. They were partners now, still distant, still strange, but no longer enemies. And at the center of it all was Eva Vance. The girl who had returned from the stars. She was only 12 years old, but people called her the Child of Peace. Luna Base had grown. No longer just a military outpost, it now held the Earth's Ori embassy. A beautiful, half-moon-shaped building made of earth metal and Thari crystal. One side was solid and square. The other flowed like a living wave. Inside the main hall, humans and Thari worked together, writing new agreements, sharing ideas and learning each other's languages. At the center of the hall was a tall crystal tree. It grew slowly every week. Each branch carried a new memory, a moment of peace shared between the two species, and the first memory was still at the top. A little girl's voice singing a lullaby. Eva sat near the tree, her legs crossed, her eyes closed. She was meditating, something the Theri had taught her. Even though she was now famous, she never forgot who she was. She was still just Eva, still her father's sweet girl. Sergeant Leon Vance, her father, entered the hall. His military uniform had changed. No longer a soldier of war, now an ambassador's guard. He smiled when he saw her, still sitting like a monk. Eva opened one eye and smiled, still walking like an old man. Vance laughed. That's what chasing aliens for 2 years does to your knees. He walked over and sat beside her. How are you feeling? He asked. Good quiet inside today, she said. That's a nice change. Eva looked up at the glowing branches above them. They're almost ready. Today was important. It was the first Earth-Eri Unity Day. A new celebration across both worlds. Millions of people were watching. There would be no armies marching, no ships flying in formation. Only one thing would happen. Eva would speak in. A small room behind the hall, Eva waited. Dr. Arjun Malik stood beside her, checking his datapad, clearly nervous. You know. There are 3 billion people watching this live, he muttered. Eva giggled. Should I wave to them? Arjun laughed nervously. Only if your hands don't glow too much. Eva looked at him kindly. Still don't like that, do you? I'm a scientist. I like things I can measure. You can't measure feelings. No, he admitted. But you can trust them. Soft chime rang. It was time Eva stepped out into the grand hall. People on both sides, human and Thari, stood up silently. The lights dimmed a small stage rose from the ground. Eva stepped onto it. Her voice, soft but clear, echoed through the hall and across every screen on Earth. 1 year ago, I was alone, lost, afraid. I didn't think anyone would find me, but the Theri did. And instead of hurting me, they listened. I told them stories. I sang songs. I remembered my father and home and the sound of rain, and they changed. Didn't change because of power or rules or machines.
Yes.
They changed because I shared what made me human. Now, they want to learn more, and we should too. Not every alien is a threat, and not every human is a weapon. Sometimes, a simple hey, sweet girl, is enough to change a galaxy. Silence then, slowly, applause it. Began on the human side. Then the Theri joined, their glowing hands creating soft chimes in the air. Like bells, Eva stepped down, tears in her eyes. Her father hugged her tightly. I'm proud of you, he whispered. You taught me, she said later that night. The stars above Luna Base were bright. Eva and Vance sat on the roof, just like they always did. So, Vance said, what do you think the future looks like? Eva smiled, I think. There will be more kids like me. Not exactly the same, but ones who see both sides. You think humans and Thari will live together? Someday, she said. Maybe on Mars. Or even further. Think they'll get along? Eva looked up. They will, if they remember how to listen. Back in the main hall, the crystal tree pulsed with soft light. A new branch had just formed. Inside it was a new memory. A small voice. A crowd. A galaxy listening. And high above them, far past Saturn and Jupiter, hundreds of Thari ships floated silently, not invading, not fleeing, waiting for the day when they, too, could walk freely on Earth and say, hey, sweet girl. Epilogue. 10 years later, Eva stood on a red hill, her boots pressing into Martian soil. She was 22 now, eh? No. young woman with golden eyes and a calm voice. Behind her stood the first Umanthari colony, a glowing city made of light and stone. It had schools, parks, homes, and people of both species walking side by side. Children laughed in both languages. The stars above were sharp and clear. A Thari elder walked beside her, slow and graceful. "You created this," he said. Eva shook her head. "We created this together." Suddenly her cum rang. It was her father's voice. "Sweet girl, I made dinner. You coming home?" Eva smiled. "Be there in 5." She looked at the stars one more time, then turned and walked toward home.